Sounds good.
Hello, welcome back to the We Are LA Tech Blab Show. Today I have Kevin from Sidebench Studios, and I'm so excited to chat with him about all things UI, UX, being able to use a website in a very comfortable, auto-intuitive way. Right? Do I have that?
Exactly. That is exactly what we do at Sidebench.
So tell me all about Sidebench. First of all, where are you located in LA?
Sure. We're in West LA, so on Olympic and Bundy, close to Santa Monica area.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I'm born and raised LA, so I'm glad to also be on the West Side. I know we're a rare breed.
Where were you born and raised?
Culver City, so not too far away.
And I'm Westwood. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, Sidebench. When did you start Sidebench and why?
Sure. So I started Sidebench actually with my best college buddy back in 2012. And it was actually while I had the job that I was very frustrated with the approach at the enterprise level. It was management consulting and technology consulting, and knew that there was a better way. And that's really what Sidebench kind of spawned from. But what we do at Sidebench is we build custom applications for startups and for the enterprise. So really big brands and really big companies.
Right.
And the way that we do that is really everything around user experience driven design. So human-centered design is really the core principle that
I love that human-centered design.
Yeah, it sounds ridiculous because it's like, shouldn't all designs be like that? No. Surprisingly, not at all.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, anyone watching this and pretty much anyone that I've ever talked to has been forced to use a system, right? Or some tool, some app at their job that is just insanely frustrating to actually use, to leverage, to be effective at what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
And that frustration, those friction points are unnecessary in our eyes. We understand how they kind of came to be. But there's a better way. There always is. And we're finding that more of these very large companies are now actually allocating budget towards making their employees not frustrated every single day.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, UI, like just using a website, using an application, using anything, if you don't have a peaceful experience and an auto-intuitive experience using it, you won't use it. You won't use it well. You won't use it to as optimized as you can to get the most value from its features. You won't purchase the thing because you need to, like, in using something and making it easy to use, it creates an emotional connection between the person using the technology and like all of a sudden it becomes like part of your lifestyle rather than a chore.
Exactly. Right. And that's really what all these products, whether they're consumer facing and they're providing some utility, or within your company and a tool that you're supposed to be using, that's really what it should be doing, right? That's when it's most effective. That's when you feel invested and you can provide input on how to make that even better. And it even drives innovation, right? When especially in Los Angeles, where the industries here aren't exactly tech focused or tech driven, right? And honestly, industries within LA, they're known to be tech laggards. So when technology gets worked into the culture or what you're touching every day, and it's a great experience, it starts opening up opportunities for innovation. Not just at the executive level, but at the ground level.
And what's so cool? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's also slightly related to millennials, which is the next wave of talent that all of these large companies are looking at. They have for a while, but more and more, every single wave, every single class, they have grown up on iPads, on multi-touch screens, intuitive, well-designed apps, and that's not a trend. It's just something that's going to continue and to accelerate.
Right. And one thing people may not think about is, and I know something that you specialize in and that we were talking about earlier is employees peacefully using an interface, right? And part of that is, one, it's costing you money as an employer if your staff is taking longer than need be to use technology. And then two, you're actually also creating a workplace that isn't enjoyable to be in, so you're affecting the company culture. Would you agree with that?
Yes, completely agree. And, whatever system could have been groundbreaking a decade ago, and, that generation, the veterans within your company, they find it perfectly fine to use, and they understand they have to jump to all these different systems to re-input data. yeah, incoming employees are thinking that this is the Stone Age. It's archaic for
Totally.
for
So
what.
so how does Sidebench Studios help?
Sure. So, right, like I had said, for us, the vision always was, getting ahead of this trend, because the enterprise technology, or even going down as low as like IT,
Right.
it's all changing, right? It's not a cost center anymore. It's a new opportunity, an area for differentiation.
Right.
To really gain a competitive advantage. So that's great. And now the budgets are also following that. So with these large companies, what we do is we go in and we act as their R&D lab, essentially, an arm for them. And just like startups have accelerators, and that's really what we act as with startups, we do the same thing for the enterprise. Now, there's not a well-packaged 90-day program for the enterprise, because the challenges that they have and the constraints that they have are very, very different between all of them. And it's not some blue sky vision and starting from scratch. They're starting from lots of politics, bureaucracy, and kind of these large systems that are forcing them to go specific ways. But that's fun for us, right? And our team, we're just the best product experts, and really core, it's just us being creative problem solvers. And the enterprise gives us problems on the technology side and business that are very, very challenging. Sometimes too challenging, as their executives would say. But when you can find a solution that works for them and works into their long-term strategy, it's incredibly fulfilling, because you know how large that impact is just for the company itself to be more successful, and all of the customers have.
Can you walk me through what that looks like? I mean, you're taking a company that's been using the same software for, let's say, like 5 years, 10 years, and the whole team is using this, and this is what they're accustomed to. And then are you suggesting that Sidebench is saying, we should switch out your software, or we should tweak it, or like where exactly? Can you walk me through kind of visually? Yeah,
it's it's not easy. Actually, the early stages are obviously the hardest. First of all, they have to trust me, the face of this company, and I don't exactly look the same age as all of their executives. And that really is, they've said time and time again, that was kind of the hardest thing for them to overcome, right? They see that as a risk, but we are offering up a very, very different approach to a problem that's existed for a while. But a very different approach to how to solve that. And the way that we do it, we always start with a phase called discovery.
Okay.
It's very simple, practical to start with. It's understanding what their goal is. So we always have to start by partnering with a very innovative, forward-thinking executive. That's key. And that executive has to be very passionate as we are about solving this problem, else it's not going to work. And they have to understand the landscape that they're operating within, right? The environment. So we know what the constraints are going into it. So we take this vision, we break it down, really the same way that the lean startup kind of tells you how to think about things, breaking them down into pieces of functionality and mini goals. Mm-hmm. We then start doing analysis in two different streams in parallel. One is technical architecture. So we have to look at all of their systems, where their data sits, so that we can deliver this really powerful result, this powerful platform. And then on the other side is the human-centered design, the user experience analysis. That is the most important. That's obviously missed most frequently. So we actually interview the users themselves. If they're straight out of college, we are going to be talking to all 20 of them and getting input, not just on the system that they're using right now, but how would they design the system? Right. Even if they're not thinking about the business goals at the executive level, or they're not thinking about, well, sorry, you have to use SAP, you have to use this because your company has a contract for 5 more years. So all of the problems aren't there. They just kind of understand, why is this so frustrating? And I can think of 100 ways to make this better. We take that and we bring it back to the executive. And then we really start brainstorming on the experience side and understand a workflow that's going to leverage all of these different data points and deliver on the goal that really the executive always had this vision. And it also aligns with the vision of the actual end users, right? So those lower level employees. And a lot of time, right, we then have to do a layer on top of, right, all these systems, and we free up this data so that these employees are now using a mobile app that's fully secure, and it's worked into their entire IT infrastructure. And their executive also has an iPad app that dynamically shows you analytics, and they're able to cross-reference and look at all these different reports and drive insights that they did not have before. They just simply did not have them.
It's a lot. It's a lot of liability, a lot of pressure, a lot of trust. It's a lot. Social Brew has a question for us. The question is, do you find the executive, or more commonly, do the executives, are they on the hunt for you, for Sidebench?
I see. It's been a mix. So for us, honestly, we were on the hunt for enterprise. We started in 2012, and we're doing a lot of e-commerce and a lot of startups too. We were acting as an accelerator for startups. And the way that we're structured and the way we go about solving problems, it aligns with startup accelerators very well.
Right.
But doing at the enterprise, it was just challenging to find executives that would trust us. Just at the beginning of this year, we landed essentially our first and second very large multi-billion-dollar clients, public ones.
Congratulations! High five.
Thank you. So just even through summer, executives started coming to us, and it turns out that very innovative executives like to talk to each other about their problems, their frustrations, and what their team, especially if they really believe in their team and they're not being used to their full potential, what they're getting in terms of feedback and what they want to do, but they just can't. So we work with smaller budgets to do something amazing, to execute or at least take the baby steps on a grand vision. So these executives have just been kind of passing our name around, and they've been coming in just this year. So it's kind of switched, and now executives seem to be kind of on the hunt for Sidebench and for firms like us. It's just there aren't that many out there. There's a lot of giant global consulting firms that are buying up creative studios and packaging it together and saying there's something like what we're offering. But Red Bull, Oakley, Andreessen Horowitz, Facebook, Instagram, those are the clients that we've really been able to impress and deliver on our promises this year alone. And so next year is going to be really exciting.
That's
and
amazing.
I hope that they continue to hunt for us. But it seems like it's that demand is growing.
That's awesome. And for everybody tuning in right now, can you share your URL and your Twitter handle again so they can stay in touch?
Sure. So our website is sidebench.com, and it's going to be revamped in just a few weeks, actually. So we're going through kind of a rebrand. And my Twitter handle is just my name, Kevin Yamazaki.
Perfect. And can you spell your last name for everybody watching?
Sure. So Kevin is easy. The Yamazaki part, Yamazaki, and I'll chat it in here in a second.
Perfect. And so what are the next steps? If you could ask anything from the LA Tech community to support Sidebench, what would your ask be?
Let's see. Well, I guess, first of all, thank you for letting me speak about the enterprise. Right? And within technology and Los Angeles, enterprise tech is about as the least sexy topic that you can kind of broach or discuss on something like Blab. But for me, it's really thinking about everyone that wants to start something up, right? Consider the path of being an entrepreneur, right? Working within the freedom of whatever great enterprise that you're working under, and think about how you can innovate there, how you can make the teammates that you really care about more effective, how you can impress your executive, your supervisor, and how you guys can collaborate and kind of become some of those more visionary stakeholders, those champions within larger organizations that are trying to affect change, that want them to be more forward thinking. That's really what we found to be the most inspiring, is that we're talking to these executives at the VP level of a public company, and they sound the same as ambitious, wide-eyed founders, that have never had a job in their lives. And the similarities are it's pretty amazing. And that's inspiring to us.
And one last question, actually, for the startups watching that want to also have enterprise level clients. What is the duration of a sales cycle, an average sales cycle, would you say? What can they expect if they're looking to work with enterprise companies?
Well, it's been all over the place. I think it's very, very dependent on, at least at the enterprise level, them knowing what they need. This is what they usually ask us to do, and what we end up delivering and agreeing on delivering is something very different from, the RFP or from what they had reached out to us as, oh, you're an agency. Great. We have this really hairy technical problem, but it also needs to look beautiful.
Definitely.
So, the sales cycle, I would say, it has certainly lengthened for us. This year, we found that it's around 3 to 4 months, which is very, very short.
3 to 4 months.
At the enterprise level. But, again, I don't want to open us up to competitors, but out here in Southern California, there are very few firms doing what we're doing that aren't giant global consulting firms kind of trying to seem very young, nimble, and agile.
Definitely. And before you sign off, one quick second, can you just refresh your screen because we have an audio glitch real quick?
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. And then Kevin will come back in one last second and he'll say bye. But if you want to stay in touch with Kevin, he is amazing. And I'm sure he will tell you all that and more and have a conversation with you about Sidebench moving forward if Sidebench is the company that you want to work with. So to sign off, somebody who wants to take the next steps, they're sitting in their office and they're like, we have a lot of stuff going on and it's murky. I don't even know how to get started because even thinking about shifting our technology or looking at it different or implementing something new is so overwhelming. How can they start engaging in a conversation with you? Like, what are the next steps to get there?
So that is my job, which is the most fun. I would say just email me, and I don't do this very often. It's very obvious what my email address is, but it's kevin@sidebench.com. Those are conversations that I absolutely love having, where when you have a real problem and you think there might be a way, and that's just rapid fire, trying to figure out what the different options are, and try to poke holes in the plan and kind of come up with a very small, technical architecture and a solution plan.
Definitely.
That's the most fun.
Well, thank you so much, Kevin, for hanging out with We Are LA Tech. This has been your We Are LA Tech and Blab show where you get to meet amazing LA tech companies. So excited. Every week we come back with you with new amazing companies and great conversations. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. You guys check out Sidebench Studios. It's awesome. Love the team, and I will talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks a lot, guys.